Hello guys, I'm going to solve the math question that we were working on. That was the surds. So surds basically are irrational roots, okay? And when we say irrational roots, what we mean is basically it's a root that cannot really be broken down to a rational number. So for example, you know how you could have maybe the square root of say the square root of 4, and that will be equal to 2, right? You know that's right. And you could also have say the square root of 9, and that will be equal to 3. These are rational roots. These are roots where you basically know that you get a rational number. This is a rational number. But the problem with surds is you do not get a rational number. When you have the square root of a number, say 7, you do not get a rational number. You get something else, like you get probably something point something something something, and that's not a rational number. So what is important, what is really important when you're trying to learn surds, is to know all the rational roots, right? That means from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So you need to know all these roots. So 1 times 1 will give us what? 1. So we know that the rational root of 1 is equal to 1. And then you have 2 times 2 will give us what? So we know this is equal to root 4. And 3 times 3 will give us 9, so this is root 9. And we have 4 times 4 will give us what? I think 36. 36 is right. No, 36 is not right. That's 24. 4, 5, 20. So that's 16. Sorry, guys. So root of 1 is 1. Root of 2 is 4. Root of 3 is 9. Root of 4 is 16. Root of 5 is 25. It's 25. Root of 6 is 36. Root of 7 is 49. Root of 8 is 64. And root of 9 I think is 81. And obviously root of 10 is 100. So you really need to know this. You need to memorize these in your head if you really want to solve sets, because that makes the work easier. Now there are certain rules that you need to know when you're solving sets, and we'll go over them very quickly. Sets. The first rule is do not leave the roots as a denominator. And so if you have something like 2 over 7, do not leave 7 as the denominator when you're done simplifying your set. This is wrong. The second rule, this is the first rule. The second rule is you have to multiply and divide sets normally. And so if you have a set of say 7 times 7, this is equal to 49. That makes sense, because 7 times 7 is 49. So when you have division, you can divide. When you have multiplication, you can just multiply. And when you have division, you can also just divide. For example, if you have 8 over 4, you could just divide that to root of what? 4, because 8 over 4 is equal to 8 over 2. If you have 8 over 2, that will give us 4, and that will be equal to what? 2. So 2 becomes the final answer. Do you get that? Also for here, we get 7 as the final answer. Do you get that, guys? So that's the division and multiplication rule. The addition rule is basically you can add or subtract if the roots are the same. For example, if you have 2 root 3 plus 4 root 3. Then because the roots are the same, you can add 4 plus 2 to get 6 root 3. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is basically the rules you need to know when you are solving for sets. So I'm going to go over the question that was posted in the group and solve it, and then hopefully you understand how to solve sets. First, let me clean what we have here. I'll leave the numbers on the side so it's easier for us to solve the questions. Again, when you're solving for sets, please make sure you really know all of these roots so that it's easier for you to just solve what you're solving for. Okay, yeah, so the question that was posted in the group was 3 over root 7 times root 7 over root 7. Okay, so we're going to multiply both the numerators and the denominators, and what we are going to get, because it's multiplication, we can multiply, right? If it's addition or subtraction, then we have to make sure that all the square roots are equal. But because this is multiplication, we will just multiply. So 3 times 7 will give us 3 root 7 over 7 times 7 will give us what? 49. So root of 49. And this will give us 3 root 7 over, remember 49 is 7. So this becomes our final answer. Quite easy, right? So this is how you solve for sets. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll go over it again.